You got a kyde paddle for us?
Oh, yeah. You want to see how far I can go? Okay. Alright, ready?
Yeah? She's super proud of this kyde paddle. It's really just a doggy paddle.
I got water in my nose. I bet it surprises dogs too. It's salty. I haven't been to the beach in a long time. Kamehameha.
You didn't do the knees.
Kamehameha.
I don't think you can tell we're doing the knees if the camera moves.
If they can, hold on. You got to do it on the ones and twos, not the ones and threes, not the twos and fours. Kamehameha. Was that right? Kamehameha.
I still feel uncomfortable about this dance, man.
Anywho, right behind us is a statue of Kamehameha, which we also saw one on the Big Island, so I didn't think there would be one here. I don't know why I thought you only make one statue to a person in one place. There's never been multiple statues of the same person.
I want to say it's almost the same statue. I don't know, it's really similar feeling.
It definitely could be.
We have to check that footage and see if he's got the same hand up and stuff. But
yeah.
Regardless, like, this is the, I don't remember all the exact details, but he was one of the monarchs or whatever.
Like the first monarch, and then...
Yeah, he like unified the islands back in the day, so he's really important.
He took it all over. And we are celebrating him by having gone to Kamehameha Bakery. There is that rolls off the tongue so easily now, wow. There's a little bakery. I'm quite excited because they have malasadas, which we had some of the...
I asked him if that was a malasada, and he said it was called a poi donut.
It's called a poi donut,
yeah,
all right.
He said that the malasadas were not that, and he said that the dude that explained it wasn't really interested in explaining it, to be completely honest, but he said that the malasadas that are made with malasada, is what he said to me.
Okay.
And that is made with poi. And I don't know what poi is. So I was just, and he was just like not having my questions.
Okay,
so
I was not around for this question session. Yeah, this guy was a straight shooter about donuts. So regardless, if it's a malasada or it's a donut, I expect it to be purple on the inside.
And it's basically like a donut with no hole. So
yeah.
Like a malasada, but not a malasada.
And it's got glaze on the outside, and I suspect that some sort of coconut friend has gotten involved here.
That's what it looks like.
There seems to be an invasion.
And I got something just with coconut in it, but it also looks like it might be purple.
Yeah.
It's supposed to have shredded coconut inside, and it's a pan de coco, which we just had a discussion. We're like, is that Japanese? Like pan, like as in bread, but that's from French, and then de as in a grammar thing, and then coco as in coconut? Or is it a word that is from another language?
We don't know, but it's edible.
All right. Okay.
To Kamehameha.
You got tap.
Kamehameha. You're just injuring my food.
Is this empty inside?
It looks pretty empty inside.
Does the poi taste like a thing?
It tastes like a donut. I'm assuming there's some sort of filling further in. I'm gonna have to go in further. And I think that guy, I showed him a picture of what I wanted, and it looked incredibly purple. Like all of this was purple. And when he looked at it, he's like, that's the poi glazed.
Mine is purple on the inside.
Wow.
The breading is purple, and the coconut is shredded coconut, but it is...
There is nothing on the inside.
Pretty wet. It's like a wet coconut. Yeah, you kind of got... It is a little purple.
That's gray.
It's a little purple. I mean, look.
It's supposed to be... Oh, it's poi glazed.
Yeah.
Ah, for some reason I expected some filling.
It just tastes like sugar.
Yeah. I've fallen down a rabbit hole of disappointment here, but that's okay.
It's not bad, it's just not exciting. Right behind the statue of Kamehameha is a building that is the Supreme Court of Hawaii now, and they've got museums inside, so it's all free. We just thought we'd come in and see what's going on, why not? And the first thing that we stumbled into was this area that is talking about how Hawaii was placed under martial law during World War II after the bombing of Pearl Harbor, and then until basically the end of the war. And it's really interesting actually, because it's showing how daily life was affected by the martial law that everybody was living under. So I'm not really 100%, like, I don't personally quite understand. I know Hawaii was a territory at that point. It was before it was a state, of course. but I don't know what their political system was at that time, but it's being referred to as the territory of Hawaii, and that the military basically took command of everything under martial law. But I'm not sure if that's like the federal United States military or if they had like a militia in Hawaii. It's kind of unclear at this point. But regardless, this kind of will explain a little bit about what types of things people had to do and live under at the time. So there's a lot of things. Most of it revolves around stopping people from spying or reporting information about Hawaii out of the area. So you'll see that here, like for instance, they've got this car here, right? And there's like an example of a car. And if you look here, there are these covers in the front of the lights. And this is here so that if you're driving at night, that your car isn't showing light. So if somebody is observing from above, it's difficult for them to figure out where roads are. Like if they can see other cars driving, obviously, like, you know, if a Japanese spy plane or whatever is over, they could figure out where things are and stuff. But that gets into like just like a lot of different rules about how you have to have permits just to drive at night, or how during the nighttime hours there's no electricity on the island. They shut off everybody's lights, and you could get fined or in trouble for light leakage. So if you use like candles or something and your house was too bright, then you could get in trouble for things like that. So like this entire time period, which was like years long, this is what people were dealing with. I'm just looking, there's a lot of different rules. Censorship was a big thing. And this talks about newspaper censorship, radio censorship, letter and mail censorship. So if you're writing somebody a letter, every letter, it says all letters will be read by a censor. It says everyone. So you can't talk about weather, you can't talk about military activities, you can't talk about blueprints, and it says that you can't close letters with XXX at the end, which I think that means anonymous back in the day. Is that what that means? We're kind of like, what does that mean?
And one key thing was that all communications had to be in English.
Oh, yeah,
Telephone calls.
Well, it didn't say that about the letters, but it says that if on a telephone call, it says censors listen to all inter-island and trans-Pacific telephone calls. So every phone call, somebody's listening to you, or they're saying somebody's listening to you. And it says you must give in advance your name, the person you're calling, all the names of the people you will be speaking about. It says do not speak any language other than English. So if you lived in Hawaii, you spoke English, but your relatives or whatever spoke another language and not English, you couldn't talk to them. Like if your relatives are from Mexico and you want to talk to them in Spanish because they don't speak English because they don't live in an English-speaking area, then tough, you're out of luck, unless they have a translator on their side. And it says, like, don't talk about ship or plane movements, don't discuss anything that may disclose troop movements, and don't mention the weather, which I think is kind of funny because it's nice and warm and then it rains for 10 minutes and then it doesn't rain, and that's basically the weather in Hawaii. So I'm not sure how much you could glean from that information if you were a spy, but I'm sure they were worried also about just people straight up reporting out, and I wonder if they worried about people topping the lines and just listening to people's conversations, and then that would be giving away information even if you didn't intend to. Yeah, there's a lot here. There's stuff that talks about how there was a job freeze, your wages were frozen, and you couldn't change jobs. Like you had the job you had the entire time. They're talking about gasoline rationing. They're talking about they gave everybody gas masks and stuff. It was not like just like a, you know, we're going to say there's a martial law and there's going to be, you know, not very much practical changes, but it's here just in case. Like these were huge practical changes for the people that were living here at the time. And it said they were distributed, there was 200 like rules that were just distributed in the newspaper, and that's how everybody got that information. And then I hope that you didn't have to make any mistakes and deal with the consequences. Some of the consequences seem like it could have been severe, but some of it is just like a $10 fine or something. One of those $10 fine things is you had to have a civilian registration card that you carried with you. Anybody over the age of 6 had to have their fingerprints taken and then carry this card with them at all times. One thing that is specifically of note, I know it's a lot of information, but I find it really interesting. One thing that's specifically of note is that if you were of Japanese descent or an alien Japanese, is how it's phrased on the wall, you had stronger rules that you had to abide by. They specifically said, like, you know, if you have Japanese blood, then you can't have, there's a stronger restriction on what you're able to do.
Stronger fines too.
Stronger fines on what would happen if you did things wrong. One of the things specifically says that if you have ancestry, you work near waterfront or military base, you have to wear a special badge. Like straight up, like just like I am of Japanese ancestry. That's what this badge means. Which I mean, it doesn't really get into what it was like to live here if you had Japanese ancestry at that time. But it probably was not the most socially comfortable situation, I would imagine. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you're working around all these other like people, and it said that most of the people complied with all these rules just out of like patriotism. Essentially, they felt like this strong sense of patriotism after being attacked. I mean, I'm sure that something that may relate a little tighter to people in the modern age is like after 9/11, you kind of felt that same type of thing happen. I'm sure that was super strong here, the way that especially would have been in New York. But back to, this is the Japanese alien list, and they're talking more about like, you aren't allowed to have guns. Everybody had to turn their firearms. Like that's just like straight up notice to US citizens. You have to surrender to the nearest police station firearms ammunition. There were no firearms ammunition like privately held. But this is like firearms and then ammunition and then a big long list of like transmitting sets, I guess like a radio type thing or something, signal devices, cameras. If you were an alien Japanese, I guess that just means Japanese citizen living here. You couldn't have a camera, you couldn't have sketch, like things to do sketching and stuff with. You couldn't have binoculars, yada, yada, yada. It's like a pretty extensive list of extra restrictions. But yeah, I never realized, I guess, that they were under martial law during this time, that it was like really clamped down on Hawaii. So it's kind of like eye-opening to walk in and see all of this.
I really like going into Supreme Court buildings or any buildings that are like governmental. There's a different feeling about it. I remember doing it in Utah, I've done it in DC, now I've done it in Hawaii, and they ooze something that doesn't exist in other buildings, and you got to be quiet and polite, and I like it. We've come across the street from the Supreme Court building, and we found out that the last reigning monarch of the Hawaiian, when it was territorially...
Before that.
Before that.
Yeah.
So before it even became a territory, the last reigning monarch had built this palace, and she lived there for probably about 17 years, and I believe after that, when her government got overthrown, her monarchy got overthrown, she was imprisoned in here. And I kind of like thinking about people being imprisoned in the things that they built. You are the maker of your own like prison, apparently. We had a discussion about this building, which was, is it a castle or a palace? Is it a castle or a palace? Have a look at it. Make your choices. I went palace. Eric didn't really like pick a side on it. We just originally thought maybe it's the castle of the monarch, because I think monarchs to me feel like a European thing. But I started to feel palace on that. If you look next door, you'll start seeing what a castle kind of feels like. Over to the side here, this was the barracks for the guards that would take care of the palace while the queen was here. They didn't originally live here. This building was farther away than it is right now. But when they ended up making the Capitol building, they brought this building here. So it's interesting to have a stark conversation about castles versus palaces, and then to see palace right next to what feels very castle. We're at Helena's Hawaiian Food, and we've ordered a D lunch. That means lots of food. The things that I'm most excited about are to eat poi. Poi is taro that has been like squished into what I'd call a pudding, but I've never had it, so I really can't describe it. Pan out a little bit, and this is poi. I'll wait for a moment till we get into that. It doesn't smell like anything. Other things that came with the D lunch are kulua. I think that's how you say it, pork. short ribs. Eric's very excited about that. Luau squid, which is taro leaves, kind of like from Lau Lau. They are like a tea flavor, and there's squid inside there. I think that's mainly going to be for me. And then we have lomi salmon over here. There's bits of salmon and bits of tomato and onions in here. That looks very festive and delicious. Things that surprised me with D-Lunch are that we got dessert. This is coconut hayupia. So it's a coconut pudding. And they also gave us some onions, told us to dip it into the salt. I don't know. I got some on there. This could just be Hawaiian pink salt.
Tastes like salt.
Tastes like salt. Yeah. So my major thing is going to start with the poi.
You just eat it straight up like that?
Yeah, it's a substitute for your rice.
I mean, with rice, sometimes you mix it with some meat. Do you not do that with that?
I'm going to do that with that.
Show me the texture again, like this.
It's a little thicker than a pudding. There is a flavor, but it's not like overarching. It's not taking anything. It's kind of, it tastes a bit like the color.
It looks yogurty.
Thicker than yogurt. It'll be strange to start with this, like, this is replacing rice or bread or something like that. This is going to be a little weird for the first time. Flavor's not off-putting. Mixing other things with it is going to be strange, but I'm going to do it. And then the other thing to try, for me at least, is the Lao squid. And I see a little bit of squid in there. It doesn't look like an immense amount. It tastes more like spinach. That is great. I'm so glad. At first, this wasn't involved in our lunch, but I got back up and I was like, can we upgrade so I can get this? That's delicious. It's buttery and very, very nice.
This place seems really amazing. It seems like legitimate home cooking Hawaiian food in a just way that I'm glad we were able to access without getting somebody's Hawaiian grandma involved, because that's what it seems like.
What do you mean?
Okay, somebody's Hawaiian grandma is involved. But yeah, when the lady laid down the stuff, she's like, have you ever eaten here before? And we were like, no. And she just spit out a like 900-word sentence on what all this stuff was and how to do it. And I was like, whoa, a little bit overwhelming. But the one thing that we definitely think we've got nailed down is you can take a piece of the onion and you put the onion into the salt a little bit. And then she said, mix it with any meat. So I'm going to go with the thing that is most obviously meat. And I'm going to have it like that. It's a lot of salt. There's a lot of salt. The salt has a really strong flavor. The onion is actually, I don't know how to say this, but you know how some onions are weaker than others? That onion is not weak. It's a lot of onion. I want to taste the meat alone. It's really good. Almost a bit of a smoky flavor. It's really soft. This falls apart. It's better than my lunch yesterday because it's been cooked. Yeah, it really tastes like Thanksgiving, you know? I mean, it's not Thanksgiving, but it's like somebody's Thanksgiving. Not my Thanksgiving, but another dude's Thanksgiving. That's kind of the world we're in. The other thing I was excited about were these short ribs. And I'm realizing, looking at them now, that, oh, okay, that's not so short. I thought it was just this one little tiny piece. So I'm just gonna kind of gobble that piece off and see what's up. It's your standard pork rib. It's definitely been flavored with some stuff. It's not as good as this, but it's a nice piece of meat. You didn't talk about the salmon, did you? Last thing on the table. I was surprised when this came out because I know we ordered salmon, but it's tomatoes. Looks like salsa. Which tool? All right. Obviously it's been mixed with onions, it's been mixed with tomatoes, and it is got salmon in there somewhere hiding. Little pieces you can see actually. It feels a little weird to eat it like that. The tomatoes. The tomatoes and the salmon are like balanced really well in the way that they taste. It's not like overwhelmingly one way or overwhelmingly the other, but the tomatoes are just really delicious. It makes me wonder if you're supposed to be taking like a little bit of rice or something and mixing it in and having it like more like that. It makes more sense to me, but I don't know. I'm like looking around trying to see other people eating, but everybody around us just got seated, so I'm just like looking at empty tables. Really happy we got to check this out. It was not cheap though. It was like $26 or something like that for the spread, which is not ridiculous, but it's also not like something you could like nail out every day. And I wanted to point out that, as you can see here, cash only. I've noticed that any place that doesn't take credit cards in these, like this modern age, is usually pretty good because people are willing to go to the ATM before they come here. So they must be dropping something on the table that's delicious, and I'd say this place probably is.
You may have noticed that the quality has changed. We have our waterproof camera out because we're about to do something I don't think I've ever done before. We're at a place called Mermaid Cave on the west side of Oahu. And behind me, you'll see there's like, it looks like just a bunch of rocks. But throughout it, there are holes in the rocks that go down to like a secondary level that has waves coming in and out. And we are about to hop into one of the holes over here and just see what it's like down there in the mermaid world. We're waiting for some guys who are getting high in there to get out. I'm not trying to get a contact buzz in a confined area with waves. That's just not cool. They're gone. I should point out we checked the tide. It said the tide was going out. Hopefully we'll survive. It said you needed upper body strength for this. I'm in the hole. This is really disorienting. Like, all I can see is rocks and the end of the beach coming up and nothing else. It feels weird. Like, I know I'm gonna duck down and then start feeling really strange about the decision I've made to be in this hole. Okay.
This is neat. Whoa, the color. Wow.
So we sussed out the situation. At first we felt very much like you shouldn't go back out here. We watched a girl come in and she put her feet in. She didn't go swimming or anything. She didn't get this deep in. And she looks safe. Tide has definitely gone out since we've been in here, and it doesn't seem safe, but it doesn't seem like we're gonna die.
It's a cool little cave. I didn't expect to be going into a little cave with the water and stuff.
Yeah.
And in the water, there were a couple of little fish that are like impossible to film because they're like, I don't want to be on film. And then there's these big rocks that are purple.
Yeah,
oddly, like a really unnatural purple color.
It was definitely like, if that mermaid is down there, she's into purple. Yeah.
And then a whole bunch of people decided they were gonna come down there with us. And about that point, we were like, we gotta get out of here. It just gets like, you gotta kind of like step around people, and like, the cave is lower than my standing point at most points.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's kind of difficult to navigate your way around. The water's throwing you around and stuff.
How you get out is at least up to here.
Yeah.
So for females such as myself, you have to ask for help. I helped 2 girls get out, and then Eric helped me get out, and I couldn't help you, but a dude helped you get out. I don't know how the last person's getting out.
If you had strong upper body strength, you could pull yourself out, but I just don't. I don't have that. I'm just weak. So
yeah.
But then right before I got out, a dude swam in from the outside. So it connects out. Obviously the water is coming in, but I guess like local dude, he was like a local dude, just showed up. And he didn't come from where everybody else came from.
Yeah.
So he came from somewhere else, at the very least.
Had I known that, I might have tried to swim out and come over to the beach over here.
I think it could be kind of sketchy.
It could be very sketchy, and you don't want to be that person that like didn't think it out or didn't get advice or didn't like do the due diligence and died.
I don't know if your doggy paddle is strong enough.
Look.
And like once you get to the cave opening, what if it slams you into the roof and stuff?
Yeah.
Like that could be just bad news.
It could be very dangerous.
I would only do that if I was with somebody that knew it.
This guy's gonna jump in again.
Oh, is he gonna jump in?
That guy's whole body just goes
Did you notice the splash that came up after him?
I didn't see the splash. Oh, there he is. Wow, well, he's having a good time. I'm not going to do that. I have adventured past the point of what I think I should do. We did check the tide before we went in, which I think was smart, because you could really get hurt. That would be very stupid.
But the water here is beautiful.
Yes.
I was just mentioning how Oahu kind of has a reputation of just being a city. Honolulu kind of overtakes Oahu's reputation, and I don't think anybody talks about how beautiful it is here, and it is totally beautiful.
Yeah, if you just get away from the city, you'll find beaches everywhere. You'll find geological beauty everywhere.
For sure. It's different than the other two islands, but I bet you every island in the chain is different than each of the others.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's different and beautiful.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
It's different and beautiful. Another thing about Oahu is that we've seen a lot of things about getting your stuff stolen. Even in this parking lot here, it says it's a high theft area. So we get down to our skivvies. I've got on my bikini, he's got on his bathing suit, nothing else. Like, then what do you do with the key? We're sitting here like looking at it, okay, and he's like, okay, I could take the key off when we leave the fob in the car, but this is the stupidness of the fob and the key are the same thing. You cannot get this wet. So that either means we're not going over to the cave or we're not gonna have a car when we get back. Not sure which one matters more. Eric came up with a clever thing. Just take it and slide it in here. And close it. And hopefully nobody saw you do that. Don't steal my car. And we came back, car was still here. That was pretty nice. But you might not be that lucky. So be careful, look at your surroundings. We sat here for a good 5 minutes looking around to make sure that nobody was looking. But this is something that you have to worry about specifically on this island in Hawaii. And also I feel like in America you need to be more cautious of your stuff, your belongings.
Than Japan anyways.
Yeah, and other countries that I've been in as well, not just Japan. News report. Some shady man saw me do that, so I would tell you that the criminal network has figured out this system and word is going to travel quickly, so I wouldn't use the gas tank if I were you.
Am I the shady man?
No, it was that other man that just watched me take the keys out.
This guy watched you do it and then he was like, he just had a look on his face like that and he looks a little sketch.
Yeah, so he's gonna tell all of his friends and then they're gonna tell their friends and then they're gonna tell their friends and then you ain't gonna have a car. Do you want some help?
I'm trying to figure out.
Okay.
All right, sit down. Ready?
Yep.
Go.
Oh yeah!
Oh, swinging with another person is a little scary. You feel locked in? Are you okay?
Yeah, I feel fine.
We found a swing, and the swing is
in the middle of basically
like,
nowhere.
in the jungle. We drove up this hill, and you gotta swing your legs. What are you doing? You don't know how to swing?
I was swinging.
You gotta.
But you stopped and made us
It's hard.
push on the
We
ground.
gotta time this out. Okay, legs up.
We have different
And
swinging.
then down. If anybody's laughing at us, I'll tell you what, it's harder to swing with another person. Are we swingers?
Yes.
Is this
Right now, definite swingers.
So we found this road that is just like a squiggle up a hill. And we came here because of the squiggle. And it seems like a storm happened. Maybe it's real windy. I wonder if the elevator's working. And
It's
all
not,
of these branches and stuff are broken. And they're in the road. And it smells nice. And it's a bit chilly up here.
Yeah, it smells like how air fresheners, like those pine air fresheners smell.
But the drive up is pretty neat because you've got all these like branches and stuff. It's pretty.
It's really nice.
Good swing.
That was a very good swing.
After the swing, we found a little pull-off, and the little pull-off is a little national park, and there's a place that you can see over the city and you can watch the sunset, and it's really, really, really crowded.
This place is called Tantalus.
Tantalus?
Tantalus Overlook.
Okay.
I think it's really strange, and every time I type it, I just see a tarantula like roaming around.
Okay.
It's just random. I know it's very random.
And when we got here, there was like a big line of cars. We had to wait in a line, and then we parked our smart car, and then we told these ladies they could park behind us. And because the smart car is so short, and they parked behind us, and then at some point they left, and then another car whom we do not know who owns has parked behind us. So
would a person in a silver punch buggy please let us out of our apartment? No,
we're not trying to leave yet, but if we were, it would be a little bit weird, you know? And that is something that I think you have to deal with as a smart car driver, is you've got a tiny little car and people think they can bully you around.
I don't think the people on the punch buggy are trying to bully anyone.
What if we had to return this and we had a flight or something? You know what I'm saying? This is like the elevator, the whole thing, everybody is just stomping on our necks.
Mm-hmm.
We need to, it's because of the smart car, nobody respects us. We need to get like a Hummer or something next time and show who's who's what, you know what I mean? Who's big dog on the island. You're not feeling me?
You can do all the rentals.
The view was really nice though.
Yeah, the view is great.
You can see
the sun is still setting right now, but it is so windy.
So windy, and I don't have a coat, and I mean because I'm in Hawaii, you know, so I'm not carrying my coat. But yeah, it's a bit brisk, and you can see Diamond Head, and you can see Honolulu, and you can see Waikiki, and
I can see the airport, but I can't check off any flights because I didn't take my phone out there.
That's why you came back to the car, right? Today's the day we have to return our little piece of shit. We're going to go over there and drop him off about 9 in the morning. And I use that name, but honestly, after 3 days with it, it's kind of an affectionate name. It's fine. The car is fine. You can fit into really small parking spaces. There's more storage than you expect in the back. My main gripe with this car is that it's damn terrifying to be on the highway. And it's one of those highways that's like concrete, and you know it has like lines in it, kind of pulls you around. I'm sure motorcyclists know what I'm talking about, but it's like terrifying because it feels like you're just gonna get thrown off the road. So that's my main gripe with the little car. If you're gonna be in the city and you get one of these things for free, I say take it. The other things that we're gonna be doing today is shopping. As you can tell, maybe, I am wearing new pants. And the reason I'm wearing new pants is because we are in America and I can buy pants that fit, which I cannot buy in Japan. So we are going to be doing sock shopping today. How exciting is that? We have to travel in countries where we rent little scooters and we go on these long bike trips around in the little scooters. And at the end of the trip, I'm almost euphoric that we didn't get killed. Like I'm like, we made it all the way through this like week or two long trip in Vietnam or like Indonesia or whatever, and we didn't get like plowed over, no injuries, no deaths. Like everything worked out great. And to be honest with you, I feel kind of the same way about this little car. Like, the fact that we didn't get hit by a truck and just like killed in this thing is kind of miraculous. I'm kind of on that like still alive euphoria.
I have a coworker who apparently, I've known that he's always been into going to Hawaii, but he told me that his wife has been going to Hawaii for the last 20 years. This was the first place that he mentioned to me. It might be just because it's a strange name. We're at a restaurant called Goofy's, and it doesn't have anything to do with Disney or anything like that I can suss out, but it really feels immensely Japanese in here. The way that it's been decorated, it just feels like one of those cozy, posh restaurants that you'd go to in Japan that's trying to be American at the same time. It's like they found that middle ground and just shifted it over here.
I literally ordered in Japanese. The staff is Japanese.
So it feels that way very much, but they are serving up breakfast stuff that is all super American, like Eggs Benedict, and Eric's got an acai bowl. I think Shimazu-san's onto something because this just looks really incredible. How do they make it look like this? I don't understand how you can poach an egg with that perfection. They got some sort of container thing like that that works to make it that perfect. I'm gonna have some. You get a choice between a wheat muffin and a taro muffin, which I'm going with the taro because I'm not gonna get that anywhere else. And you can get many different toppings. I don't remember what the other ones are. I only know what I cared about, which was spinach and salmon. That took longer than I expected to chew.
The breading is the most important, interesting thing to me. What's going on with that? Because that's this taro, which is that. How do you explain that again? It's like it's always purple,
It's always purple. I don't really know how to explain it more than saying the word. It's some sort of plant, and I don't know what plant it would be comparable to.
Waikiki is famous for having grown it back in the day. I read that somewhere.
Is it?
Yeah.
Do you want to try it and you can see where I'm living?
You always kind of expect for it to taste purple, but it doesn't. It really just tastes like bread. There's something else there? I don't know how to explain it. It's nice. It's good. I would eat it again for sure. I'd eat it a lot. But it's not definable.
Back to my food. The sweet potato. Why are sweet potatoes different colors in different places? Like when we have like yams and sweet potatoes for Thanksgiving, they're orange or yellow. How are these purple? Why?
How was it?
It was good. Not super sweet, not overwhelming. There's a little bit of butter on top of them, so that's kind of nice. I wouldn't say, I thought it was going to be way sweeter. We're at the movie theaters because whenever a new Star Wars movie comes out, we try to watch it abroad from Japan. So yeah, we're in America and we're Americans, but we're still abroad to us. And the new Star Wars movie has come out, and we've spent 2 weeks trying to do it, but yet being too busy to do it. And today is basically the last day that we can do it, so we are forcing it into our do nothing day, which hasn't really been that as of yet. I just have to point out, movie theaters have changed. Is this normal in all movie theaters now? What? I got a bed in the movie theater? They could put a lot more chairs in here, but they gave me a bed. Wow. And what surprises me a little bit is that the price for today was only $13. And I feel like that's not super expensive. It's not super cheap. This is matinee prices. We're here at $11:30. Normally you'd pay $15.50 to come here. And I don't think that's insane, considering that Japan you would drop at least $20.
And not get a bed.
And not get a bed. Yeah, this is, I'm pleased. I'm very happy.
Today's our last day we're going to be spending in Hawaii, and since we're in Oahu, one of the things that I've been looking forward to doing is coming to Pearl Harbor. And I'm not by any means like a big World War buff or anything, but I do kind of like modern history in the sense of like the 1900s forward. Like I do get kind of involved into Wikipedia articles about that kind of stuff sometimes.
And I just get excited about what you're interested in, and like some things I read it in a different way than you do, or you recap it to where I'm just like, oh, I see, I get this. So it's kind of a shared experience.
So we do sort of have a slight interest in this type of stuff, but not deep. But I do think that it's, the whole time I've been thinking about coming here, the time we've been on Oahu, I've been contemplating how ridiculously, like, this is gonna sound ignorant probably, but how ridiculously earth-shattering Pearl Harbor and the event of the attack was, in the sense that it shaped the entire world forward, like, dramatically. Like, everything changed from that moment, because it threw the United States into the war.
Which we weren't in that at all.
We weren't in that, but the United States were dancing with the Japanese, and it was looking like that might happen as a possibility, but it just thrust us into it. And then, you know, it ended up ending with the nuclear bomb, and then that pushed us into the Cold War, and like every major world event has just spun out of this one dramatic event that took place here. So I've been really excited about coming. And I'm not going to get like into the history and stuff. I think most people know the general details as deep as I would be able to go. And we did learn some things here. But I think what we want to talk about basically is the experience of coming here. And the first thing that I'm just going to give highlights on really quick is that buying a ticket to come here, or understanding what tickets are for, is very confusing. And you look at websites and it's like, they're just, you don't know what you're getting.
There's a barrage of things you can purchase, but you don't really know what you're purchasing. Some things are worded one way here and a different way there, and you don't know if you're getting more or not the same thing. And I had to make multiple telephone calls, look at multiple websites, and tumble down purchasing kind of a ticket that we didn't need, that was more expensive than what we actually did today.
And so our ticket today was $75 a piece, which is not cheap. And it's like this passport thing, but then they have like a platinum passport or something that's like $97, and that one includes more, but we can't even figure out what it is.
Yeah.
But let's not get into that too deep.
Anywho.
So the experience here, the quick takeaway that I would advise if you were going to come do Pearl Harbor is come in the morning and don't pay for any tickets in advance, because it's not necessary, because most of the stuff that is like educational, the stuff that is about the attack of Pearl Harbor is free. There are all these additional add-on things that you can do, but you can just buy them when you're here.
Yes,
so
you can buy them at the moment you get to the place, and you know you have enough time to do the activity and go, okay, yeah, I'm gonna spend $30 on this to go on the Missouri. I have the time.
So basically what we ended up doing is that we came here, and the first thing we did is we went over to the Missouri, which we are not, like I said, we are not World War II people. I do not know the names of all the ships that are involved in things. The Missouri was not involved in Pearl Harbor, but it is parked here, which is cool because it's designed in the same style as some of the ships that were attacked. So it lets you go onto a ship and see what it would have been like to be in that type of ship. And the Missouri is really extensive. There's decent signage, it's not amazing. They have some free tour guides and stuff. You can go on tours, they show you some things around, and you really get to stick your nose into every little crack and corner, and you get to see where the people were sleeping, and you get to see the bridge, and you get to see where the captain slept, and like you get to see a lot. You get to put your nose in lots of places.
We dropped a lot of time there, and I had thought 2 reasons why time got dropped there immediately was because number 1, I thought that you're going to get on the ship and they're going to teach you about Pearl Harbor on the ship. I really thought that the ship is where the education would happen, but that is not exactly what happened. It's more that is to just give you the experience, as he said.
Yeah,
It's
just a battleship, basically. Yeah, it's not specific to this place.
The second major reason was because that's an actual paid thing to go do. It costs $30 to get on there. So I thought, all right, we need to go to the things that we're actually paying money for, not the free things that are on the side. So we went to all the paid things before starting any of the unpaid, like free things. So we went to the Missouri, we toured that for a while. Then we went to a hangar where you can see lots of different aircrafts, some involved in Pearl Harbor, World War II, and then even more outside of that.
And then there's like, they have these little add-on things, it's like space stuff and things that just kind of don't make sense why it's here.
I was
like
a bird for a little while. It was interesting.
Yeah. So but it's just really just it's little things that end up taking up time and taking away from the experience of seeing this massive event that I was excited to like specifically focus on. It's just these little they're interesting things on their own, but they don't focus on like the
actual event at hand.
That is which is what I was excited about. So we ended up basically using most of our time checking out the Missouri, which again is cool on its own. But in Pearl Harbor. So we ended up spending our time there, and then the airport hangar thing was cool, but
and you went because you'd already spent money on it. Like that was a major thing. So that you wanted to go and make sure that you got your money's worth out of that. And then we immediately came back here. Hello, and there was like a virtual reality thing that was included, and it was really bad. It was like a static photo, and a camera just moves through it, and you get to look around. Obviously, you've got like a 360 view.
Feels like you're on the ship. Then it takes you underwater, and you can see the Arizona, which is the sunken ship here that they have the white memorial built over. That you sometimes can go out to, but because the weather is rough, which is fine. It's like a windy day. I get it, but they couldn't take you out. So I wanted to go out there, but
virtually was the closest we could get to it today.
But you don't have to pay to do that. That's free if you get here and get one of the tickets.
Yes, and they give out like 1,300 tickets a day.
Yeah, so you can just do that.
But since the boats aren't going out there, we couldn't go out there today. And again, totally understand safety first and so on.
After hangar,
that, we went to, we got our audio tour, which we held on to because we thought the audio tour will be able to hold on to this until 5 o'clock. Sweet. And that was at like 4.
Yeah.
So So we spent a long time. We got here at 10. We spent a long time over on Ford Island, which includes the Missouri and the hangar. And then we came back over to the mainland. Is this the mainland?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Now, we came back over here, did the virtual tour, and then we went to the submarine. The submarine is another like $25 thing that you can do.
Which is pretty badass.
Yes, and what was kind of cool, you can do an audio tour, but we didn't because we did not have time.
Yes.
That would have been cool, but as you just walk through, the place is incredibly polished, looks amazing, and you really feel like you're on a submarine because you are.
Yeah.
And that was very, very cool.
And it was cool to see that right after seeing the Missouri, because you can see the difference in the style of living.
Super different.
Like when you're in the Missouri, you're like, man, they had to live in here. It's all cramped, it's difficult, you're ducking and stuff. And then you go in the submarine, you're like, man, being on the Missouri was all right.
and
This is interesting though.
One of the things that I noted while we were on the submarine was that like being on the Missouri felt like being on a house or like a building on the water.
Yes.
Being in the submarine was like living inside of a machine.
Yeah,
and that was really cool. So we did that for probably about 15 minutes and like saw the things that we could see.
Yeah, at this point we felt rushed.
Yeah, we started feeling rushed after we got off the Missouri. So then we started the audio tour that you can learn about the Arizona, which was struck and sank during Pearl Harbor. And Eric's battery died on his thing. We had just hadn't used it. All right, now we are being forced out to the road.
So my battery died on my audio tour, which is pretty annoying. Why did they give me one with a low battery? But whatever, you know what I mean? Like,
so then we looked at the signage that we could see in the
and they've got like a nice museum. This is the area but that was the access that was free.
Yes, and all of that was free. And yeah.
I just feel, so we both sort of feel disappointed, I think, because we spent so much money, and I don't know. It's just like, the things that I really wanted were the free things, but we ended up driving ourselves to the things that we paid for because we felt like they had value.
You need to go this way.
But they didn't really have, the real value was in just the information I wanted to learn from the other stuff, is really what it comes down to.
There's a phrase that we have about this. The more you pay, you can almost feel how much you're going to be disappointed about something.
Sometimes, yeah.
So yeah, I wish I'd done a lot more research about it, but I spent about an hour figuring out how to do this and purchasing a ticket that was overpriced and for things that you didn't have enough time to do at all.
Yeah,
there just wasn't enough time to do all the things listed on this ticket.
Correct. I think that you need 2 days here. Come the first day, do the free stuff, just enjoy it. And if you feel like you want to go check out the Missouri and you want to check out the submarine and you want to do the auto tour afterwards and all that stuff, do that all on the second day. And you probably would be able to like get everything in and not feel kind of how we feel, a little disappointed.
But how we feel right now as we rush across the street to get out of the park because it is over. Your fun at Pearl Harbor has ended.
I don't know if it's supposed to be fun, but
well, I mean, the fun in being educated, learning, understanding a time that you weren't around for and getting it. And I certainly don't feel like I got to have an understanding of Pearl Harbor, although I had a good day in the sense that I did get to go and have fun on a frickin' battleship and a submarine and stuff like that. So happy on the one hand, uneducated on the other.
Fair enough. We're checking out of our resort in Waikiki, and I just wanted to point out that since the elevators have been shut off 5 days ago, they have never been back on. This sign is sort of a permanent fixture, and we have gone up and down the stairs, once up and once down every day since then. And the thing that we've noticed about it that kind of sucks is that if you just want to like go relax and then go back out, like you don't do that. You go up the stairs and you're like, I don't want to do more stairs today, I'm done. And you're all sweaty and all gnarly, so you want to take a shower and get clean. So like, that is almost the worst part. The walk really isn't that bad. It's just the circumstances that like you're near this beautiful beach and like maybe you want to hang out by the beach in the evening or whatever, but it's just like, you don't want to carry all your day stuff and you maybe want to change, you know, and just none of it happens. It really is just unideal. I do not recommend staying in a place that doesn't have an elevator when you're on the 30th floor.
Yeah. There was a day I wanted to put on a pretty dress for whatever evening thing we were going to do that did not happen. I went in what I was wearing all day because I wasn't going to go up the stairs to take a shower to put on the dress, like, and the shower was necessary because of the stairs, not the dress. Should have shot that in front of these elevators that are moving.
Oh, just for clarity, if you didn't see the previous video, which I'm sure it was in a previous video at this point, the elevators are shut down because of the wind in our building. It's not that we booked a place without an elevator. It was supposed to have an elevator, it just doesn't.
Yeah. I didn't know we were starting it. That octopus was good. Where better to wrap up our Hawaiian adventure and how we felt about it, specifically Oahu, because we haven't really talked about how we felt about our time there, than being in Osaka, eating takoyaki. Doesn't seem right, but that's where we are right now.
We have a long layover because of the way that we ended up going to Hawaii was via some cheap tickets that we had to stitch together, and one of them was we had to bounce out of Osaka to go to Hawaii, so we're bouncing back through.
And it got us here at like 8:30
p.m.
once we got our bag and everything.
Yeah.
And you can't hit a Shinkansen after that, and you can't hit a plane after that.
So we just stayed here
in
for the
Osaka.
night. Yeah, and now we are waiting until 7 p.m. So we've got kind of like the whole day to just hang out around Osaka, which is totally fine because after 3 weeks of traveling, it's like kind of cool to just have a down day.
You say it's fine, but we've gone from 26 degrees in Honolulu to 9.
It's a little colder.
In Osaka. I do not have shoes. I have sandals that I'm wearing socks with.
You look great.
2 layers of socks. I have no gloves, no hat. I have heat tech on the top and the bottom. I'm really maxing out here.
I brought a lot of decent gear. I'm all right. And the problem though is I shaved, so I'm a little cold here. Oh. This could be warmer. Okay, so back to Oahu. Oahu is a bit strange, I think, because it wasn't the same style of travel that we normally do because we had things that we needed to get accomplished while we were there, and those things were basically shopping for clothes for me, and that kind of punched weird holes into
the first day nothing
rolling.
happened. We went pants shopping that entire day.
Yeah, and then we ended up doing some sock shopping another day, and we went to a movie and stuff and just did some chilling.
Yeah,
and
we kind of just did some chilling.
At the end of a 3-week trip, you just sort of run out of energy. Mm-hmm. So just built around that framework, the feedback that I feel about Oahu is going to be directly compared to our experience on the Big Island and Kauai, because that's kind of where my mind is about the situation. That's what our experience was on this trip. And each island is vastly different from one another.
And I didn't think it would be.
Yeah, that was really surprising. But I would say the Big Island and Kauai are in vibe kind of in the similar area. They're kind of countryside and laid back. Yeah. Oahu is straight up a city because of Honolulu. Not the entire thing. You can get away from it, but where we were staying in Waikiki, it was a city, like American city, and things are more American. I'm going to be as polite as possible about this, but things are more American there. People are kind of rude. Not everybody, but you run across people who are rude. You run across rough attitudes, and you run across crazy people and people peeing in the streets
people
and
taking your money.
Yeah, you run across people taking your money, and we ran across all of this stuff, and it wasn't terrible. It was just a vastly different experience than what we had in the other places. Yeah. And the tourism is off the chain there.
It is.
That is very much what's keeping the place alive.
Tourism
and the Japanese tourism, there's Japanese tourists
they got their own
everywhere.
Trolleys.
Yeah, they had trolleys that only have Japanese on them. Yeah. Like, where's this trolley going? If you can't read the katakana, you don't know.
And not just only Japanese on them, but also riding them. Like they're only for people who have certain credit cards and things like that, which we thought was very surprising. But overall, like what was what was the best thing? Because you recently told me that favorite means nothing. So what was the best thing?
I don't like the word favorite anymore. I think that it just diminishes the meaning, the feeling of anything else. But anyway, I really like that Mermaid Cave.
That was very cool.
It was really
cool. And I'm so glad that we went down inside of it, because if we hadn't, like maybe we thought it's too dangerous, but you check the tide and you just give it a go, and I'm really glad we got in the water too. That was the only time we went swimming this entire time. Yep. The entire time we were in Hawaii was that day.
The other thing that was just standout is when we came across that seal.
Oh, so we're talking, that was on Oahu.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah, it's completely stunning to just stumble across a seal. And it was just sleeping there, and it didn't care about us, and it was just amazing to just come across something like that.
Well, I'm going to rewatch my reaction to that, because it's just like, I couldn't believe it. Oh my god. What? I get to be next to a seal? Is that a seal? What kind of dog is that? It's big. What?
I want to say that Oahu kind of gets undersold in a way. The sense that it is beautiful there. It has mountains and these amazing coastlines, and like if you get a car and go drive outside of the city and stuff, it is a pretty place. Like it's no joke. I don't know if it's on the same level as Kauai is, but that's a pretty tall order. Kauai just seems like every angle is amazing.
Yeah.
But
there aren't going to be many things that top that.
Yeah.
And we talked to a girl on there, and she looks not very pretty.
Yeah, a girl that was visiting, she was like, it doesn't look as good as Oregon. We were like, Oregon's alright, but I mean, this is Kauai.
So one of my favorite things from Oahu was the maze.
Oh, the pineapple maze. I thought it kind of sucked, dude.
That was amazing. I really had a great time doing that. And I'm wondering... It's easy to say what my least favorite things were, and that was the mountain of steps that we needed to go
the
up.
hotel stairs.
And that was just
sucked.
very easy to pin that down.
You did point out, though, that we're going to laugh about that for years and years and years. So
we were walking down with someone who explained to us there's no 13th floor, and he was like, yeah, you'll look back on this fondly. I was like, we're already laughing about it. It's already stupidly comical.
What about if I said... You had never been to Hawaii before, but when we travel, we usually go to places and we don't have any preconceived notions about what we're going to run into. But with Hawaii, being an American, you had to have had some preconceived notions about what you're going to come across. Summing up not just Oahu, just Hawaii in general, how do you feel about it having gone in with some preconceived notions?
The word paradise is used about Hawaii a lot, and everybody creates in their mind what that means. And you're definitely, I think everybody's going to have a tropical feel about Hawaii. So a tropical paradise, and I would say it wasn't that for me. Like, what I had painted in my head is not what I saw when I got there. And that's not necessarily bad. I don't sit there and think it didn't live up to my expectation, but my expectation was just different.
Did it have splashes of paradise that you found?
Splashes, yes. Like the Mermaid Cave, that was a splash of paradise, like going into this weird little area and like seeing palm trees everywhere, and then like the crags of Kauai, especially the Nepali coast.
Yeah.
Meeting some of the people also created some paradise.
Yeah, we met some amazing people while we were there, straight up.
So I would say that it's different than what I thought it would be, and that's kind of good, because if somehow they've painted what's in my head, then everybody's got the same thing in their head, and everybody's just going to be pleased by something that's kind of basic.
It was interesting.
It wasn't basic. It was dynamic. It was a lot of things that I didn't think about.
It was more than just paradise. Each
island being different things, and finding different weird things on all of them. Good, bad, ugly, interesting, you know.
It was, for me, I'd been there when I was a kid 3 times, but it's been 20 years or something since then. So it was interesting to go back and see that I had remembered a lot of specific moments and specific screenshots in my head of what Hawaii was. And then there were all these pieces that I had completely forgotten or didn't log away from that time period. But there were definitely pieces that were stronger in my head. For some reason, I was like, it just smells like flowers everywhere. I had this image in my head. I mean, I know that sounds ridiculous, but this is how I remembered it from being a child. And it does smell like flowers some places. And it was nice to have those little wafts of flowers. And I mean, there was a lot of views and stuff and things that we saw that were very similar to that memory of it's like this everywhere, but it's not really like that everywhere. It just happens every now and then.
We have sat and talked over the last 10 years that we've been together. And you've mentioned Hawaii, and we've always said we're going to go to Hawaii, and then we finally booked it, and I'm sitting here at the end of it, and each time we left a place, I was sad that it ended, because we had looked forward to it so much, and what happened in those times were good. So I'm sad that we're leaving it, and that our adventure in Hawaii, this place that we kind of put on, not a pedestal, but on a some sort of bucket list of check that off for sure. Kind of sad that it's over.
We got to come up with a new one.
Russia.
That's
the next one, I thought.
Well, we're thinking about it.
Stops right here.
Hey everybody, this was the final video from our series in Hawaii that we were there in January, and as you can see that we shoot quite a lot because we were there for 3 weeks and we came up with enough videos that we were putting out 2 a month since January, and we're now going into July.
August. We are
oh my
currently in July.
Yeah, so we're going into July. So it got us videos all, like through half the year or whatever. And the way that we were able to do this was completely through crowdfunding, and the way that we crowdfund is through a site called Patreon.
Thank you to all the patrons who have made this possible. For
everybody that's been helping us out there and helping fund the videos, that's incredible, and obviously this would not exist without that help. And thank you, like, super a lot, very much.
Yeah.
And we also want to just remind people, which we try not to be too, like, at the end of every video, like, you know, like driving it in and having commercials and stuff, because like when I watch videos I don't like to see that stuff, but the reality of it is there is a certain amount of funding that we have to have because we get paid peanuts through YouTube ad revenue. We don't have enough views for that kind of thing. So the only way that our videos exist at this point is through the support that we get directly from people who watch our videos, and that is through Patreon. And those are the types of things that you can get at Patreon. You can get some perks that we offer there. Of course, the biggest perk is getting more videos and getting the opportunity to
more videos, early access.
Yeah, we have early access, some of the videos.
We have a postcard club that I really love, and I just had to mention that.
Yeah, so there's a postcard club. You can get your name in the bottom of the credits in the videos, things like that. And something else that we do, and it looks a lot like what you're looking at right now, is a couple times a month we do discussion videos where we will just talk about the content of the behind the scenes, back of the scenes of the videos that we have filmed and stuff, and give a little bit of insight if there's anything that didn't come through in the videos. Or we also do during those times just like a random question and answer thing. People leave us questions about things, we just answer them, and you can hit us up with questions in Patreon and stuff like that, so we can have those discussion videos. And those are usually about half an hour a piece. We do those a couple times a month. So that's really the only exclusive content that we offer on our Patreon, because we really try to keep everything as on our main page and available to the whole world as possible. But that is the one thing that's a little bit like special in a sense for the people that are supporting us over there on Patreon, and in addition to the other perks that we have. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the Hawaii series. We obviously enjoyed it. It was awesome, except for that one hotel. And
update on that, I'm taking action.
Yeah, you're talking about the Better Bureau or something? Or no,
I don't know, some sort of bureau.
Some sort of bureau in Hawaii got involved, so we'll see how that pans out.
With me, I guess. Anywho, thank you to everybody who made this happen. This is just really cool. I can't believe I live in a world where we can unite in this way and things happen and we all enjoy it and we have fun and we build off of the excitement that you have and the excitement that we have, and that coming together, making something awesome.
When a fish on top of another fish? Yeah, okay.
The symbiotic relationship is wonderful.
It is very good.
Yeah, and for those who are enjoying what they're watching and aren't in on Patreon at this moment, give it a look, see if it's something for you. If not, don't worry about it. Keep enjoying the videos. Things will all be linked down below. And on the horizon, coming very soon, we have a series coming from Japan that we filmed. So if you're into the Japan videos and stuff, that's on its way. Fukui and Ishikawa. You do get wound up. Maybe if you put your arm up, if you do this. I can get this up really high. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and ring that bell so you don't miss anything that we have on the way. Our Patreon is linked below with all our other social media stuffs, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.